Hey guys, this is Nox751, and this is Comic Time. So yeah, I'm back with Comic Time. It's not going to really have to do with comic books in this episode, and it's going to have to do with Star Wars, and maybe I'll start an entire series for just Star Wars stuff, I'm not sure. But this is kind of just going to be bringing me up to speed with what's been going on in, like, the Star Wars world. And while I've been gone from YouTube, I haven't been gone from everything, so I know everything that's happened in Star Wars. Star Wars is like my favorite thing ever. If you didn't know, it's probably my favorite thing ever. So that's the thing. Basically, I wanted to make a Star Wars video, and I was recording like top 10 Star Wars planets, and I just don't really like how the video turned out. It didn't seem very entertaining to me, and if I didn't even find it entertaining, then I know you guys won't find it entertaining because it's Star Wars, and I don't know a lot of you guys are into that. So I just deleted it, and I decided I'm just gonna do a Comic Time episode, just kind of talk about stuff in Star Wars, what's been going on. So right now I'm thinking about I'm gonna give like a full synopsis of the trailer. I'm gonna do that first because that applies to everyone, and then for you hardcore fans, I will be giving a review of the Star Wars Rebels TV show after that, because those are the two big Star Wars things that come to mind right now. And I could actually give a review of the Clone Wars TV show because I did finish that, I think, since I've quit YouTube. I'm not sure, so I might do that another time. So yeah, here we go. We're gonna get into it. So the Star Wars Episode 7 trailer came out. If you somehow have been living under a rock, then you have not seen it yet, type it in, Star Wars The Force Awakens teaser trailer, and it was pretty amazing. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a long time since it came out, but I assume that none of you guys have really watched anyone's reviews of it because, that's probably you guys are subscribed to me for Wizard 101, and I don't know if you guys are subscribed to people who would do that, but I've seen plenty of reviews of this, and there's a lot of mixed reviews, especially with Star Wars fans, especially about the lightsaber and everything like that. But yeah, I'm gonna go like frame by frame, kind of talk about everything, and but first of all, I'm going to just kind of give my initial reaction. A lot of people said that it kind of looked like a fan-made trailer at first, and I definitely could see that, especially at the beginning. I was like, wait, what's going on here? But I was excited. I mean, I saw this. I bet you I saw this within the 10 minutes of it coming out, the trailer. And I got up in the morning, I looked on YouTube, and the first thing in my subscription box was from Star Wars, its own YouTube channel, and it says Episode 7, or Force Awakens teaser trailer, and I about had a heart attack, and I watched it. And I was very surprised at the beginning, and it just, I mean, by the end I was amazed. So it was absolutely amazing, and I watched it about 20 more times in the day. So I mean, anyways, I guess I'll just get into the frame by frame thing. So it starts off with the voice. I'm doing this with like no help at all. So I'm just using my memory here. The voiceover, it says, "There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?" And I thought that was kind of weird. How it's like, "There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?" Like it's him having a question like that. I mean, it's fine. I mean, I'm not having any problems. I'm just like giving you my opinion of it. I was like, oh, I guess that's okay. It was just kind of weird. But still, whatever. I don't hate on it or anything. And then all of a sudden, what's the actor's name? John something or another. I should probably have some help on here to just look up some stuff about it so I know his character. But the new guy's character, who I'm going to assume is going to be the main character, assuming that, I mean, he was the first one to be shown in the trailer. He pops up like all of a sudden. It's like, whoa. And it was kind of weird too. I mean, not gonna lie. I mean, I wouldn't really expect that. It's kind of weird how they'd make that the very first thing in a new Star Wars thing. But not hating on it or anything. Very cool. I think they're establishing that he's gonna be an important character. That, or they just wanted a random cool shot. So I would say that he's definitely gonna be an important character. I would assume the main character saying that they're gonna show him first. I mean, it's not like in the original Star Wars trailer they showed Han Solo first, like appear out of nowhere. So I would assume that he's gonna be the main character, or at least the character that we start out with, and we kind of see from his point of view. He might like be at the beginning. We kind of see him as a stormtrooper, and he's going to end up on Tatooine, and then we meet the actual character, which is also a very big possibility, because if you remember in episode 4, we start off with R2-D2 and C-3PO, and they and eventually end up on Tatooine. So we're seeing from R2-D2 and C-3PO's point of view for the first part of episode 4. Then once Luke is introduced, then it becomes his story. So it could be something like that, and it could be that other girl's that is later in the trailer. So as you can see, I'm kind of just giving my speculations as I go here, so I don't have to do it later. So people have said that he might just be in the Stormtrooper armor, possibility, but I do think that he's an actual Stormtrooper. Also, people are mad because he's black and he's a Stormtrooper. Yeah, in the old expanded universe, that probably wouldn't have happened because the Imperials were known to be just about every type of ist as possible, racist, sexist, speciesist. I mean, they were just the embodiment of evil, so they would not have allowed him in there. But the expanded universe is non-canon because, like in the old continuity, I would think that would just be white males that would be allowed into the Imperials, and I do not support that. Don't take me as a racist. I'm just saying that's how the Imperials were because they're horrible people. So they probably wouldn't have allowed him in back in the old expanded universe. But that's not canon now, so it's completely fine that he's there. And if they're gonna get rid of the expanded universe, they might as well utilize it and do stuff that would normally have gone against it. So I'm completely fine with his race, and it will be cool if he's actually the main character because I don't know, something about him just gives me a good vibe, and I think that he's gonna be awesome. And I actually hope that he. See, this kind of contradicts the title. The title is The Force Awakens, so you feel like these new movies are gonna have a very strong Force type thing. But I think it would be cool if I just had his name on the tip of my John Boyega. That's his name, John Boyega. If his character was not a Force sensitive, I'd like to see Star Wars told from the perspective of someone who's not Force sensitive, and I think that'd be really cool. So I'm hoping that he is not a Force wielder, but he is still the main character, and then we have a different Force wielder in the group. So I want it to be told from the perspective of not a person who's not a Force wielder. But like I said, it kind of contradicts the title of the movie, so I'm not sure. I would actually take a logical guess and say that he is going to be a Force wielder. I wouldn't take that guess if he didn't appear first, but it looks like he's going to be the main character, and since the movie's called The Force Awakens, I would assume that he is going to be Force sensitive and the main character, but we're just going to have to see. So, yeah, he jolts up out of nowhere. I'm guessing that he doesn't look like he knows what's going on, so I'm guessing something happened at the beginning. This is gonna be at the beginning of the movie, I'm sure. Well, I mean, I'm not completely sure. And he's gonna end up on Tatooine. He doesn't know how he got there. I'm assuming something went down, and he doesn't really remember anything, and he's just kind of waking up. That would make sense. And maybe we don't know what's going on either, and he has to kind of figure out what's going on. I don't think he'll have any memory loss. That doesn't seem like a Star Wars concept. Actually, it is because of Quinlan Voss. He kind of had memory loss, but so maybe that's a possibility, and he just starts kind of wandering around, and he's probably going to stumble upon some of the other main characters at this point in the movie. You also hear a probe droid somewhere, so maybe he escaped from the Imperials. Maybe he's trying to escape them, and that probe droid is looking for him. That is actually my main guess here. So that's why he's kind of looking around. He's trying to get away. Somehow he escaped from the Imperials onto Tatooine, and he's trying to get away from that probe droid who's looking for him. Or he escaped a long time ago. He's been kind of on the run, and all of a sudden, oh, he's a probe droid. I better get out of here. So that's my guess. He was a stormtrooper, and I'm sure that he does not. He's gonna leave the Empire right away, and he's gonna be a good guy. So yeah, that is the first scene, and he starts wandering off. So that took me a little while to discuss. Now let me just replay this in my mind. I'm gonna have to think about what the next scene was. I believe it's the droid. Okay, so you get the droid that's kind of rolling along. People think that he's on a soccer ball or like a ball in the Star Wars universe, and that seems to actually be the general consensus now, but I actually don't think so. I think that's just part of the droid. I think he's just that's just where the droid is. That's his movement. Because it looks like he's in some kind of scrapyard, so he's probably like a made from scratch droid. So they just took random parts, probably the head off of an astromech droid, and they just put it on something, and boom, there you go, you have a droid, and it will be yeah, that was the thing I didn't like the most in the trailer. I think it looked a little bit silly. I'm like, oh, yeah. So hopefully they don't use this droid that much. Maybe he'll just be kind of in the beginning as like part of what I would assume to be this lady character that we see later. I think it's her junkyard. That's kind of what the rumor is. So I would assume that he's just one of her creations, and hopefully he won't really go with them, because I'd like to see R2-D2 and C-3PO be with the main cast again, just as tradition. So that's all I have to say about that part. Just kind of a little silly thing. I don't think it really fit the mood of the trailer, but whatever. It's Star Wars. I'm not going to complain that much. So next scene we have, I believe the next scene is the Stormtroopers. I might go a little bit out of order here, but they're all random scenes anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now this was probably my favorite scene of the entire thing. It was so cool. You got the ship kind of shaking around, and let me tell you, a lot of people have said this before. You can definitely tell that this is not being shot by George Lucas just by how the whole thing is has done. It's a completely different vibe, which is very cool because you don't really know what to expect with this. So you got the stormtroopers like kind of shaking around like they're in some kind of thing that's flying, and they're gonna be probably dropped off, and they're really shiny. You get to see the new stormtrooper armor, which looks amazing. Oh my god, so cool. You can also see that the stormtroopers don't. I kind of looked into this a lot. The stormtroopers are like not the same height, so I thought that was a little bit weird. But obviously they're not clones anymore. So it's kind of shaking around. Their armor is spotless, and it looks really cool. The new armor, it looks really sleek. They look like the eye stormtroopers. Some people have said that too. I think like they look like Apple stormtroopers, but I really like it. It looks like a cool modern look. So it wouldn't really fit the theory that the Empire's been kind of driven into hiding if they're gonna like develop new stormtrooper stuff. So I'm assuming that the Empire's still big and a problem, which isn't really my favorite idea concept. I would actually rather have these movies not have the Empire in it at all, but it looks like that's what they want to do. So it doesn't look like the stormtroopers are going to be like some kind of like the Empire's like just a small force that just needs to be driven out. It looks like they're big and bad, which I don't really like as much. I'd rather have the Empires actually be the underdogs in this one. That would be kind of a cool twist or something. Or they were the underdogs and now they're coming back with the help of something else. That would also be really cool. Like maybe the Yuzon Vong or whatever, but from the expanded universe, but it doesn't look like we have any hints or indications for that, so I doubt that that will be a thing. But I hope there's another force that comes in to help the Empire and kind of get it back on its feet and takes it in a different direction. So maybe they design these new stormtrooper outfits. So you can't really read too much into teasers. I mean, maybe I'll be completely wrong on everything. So stormtroopers are in there, and then they load their new guns, which also look very cool. Not just the standard random kind of black gun. You got different types of guns there. Very cool. And then the door opens up, and it looks like they're, I think it's like a dark, maybe even watery planet that they're probably going to jump out on. So, very cool. They're making the stormtroopers look like an actual threat in this, so hopefully they will be an actual threat, and they can actually hit their targets. That would be amazing. And it looks like there's just going to be a lot of cool shots in this movie with, like, this stuff that you've never seen before in Star Wars. And that's really what I got off of that scene. Just very, very cool looking. And if you actually are on my Twitter page, those stormtroopers are my banner on Twitter, because I really like that part. It was so cool. So yeah, the Empire is definitely in this movie, I would say, and it looks like they're pretty strong. So not my favorite because it's kind of a repeat of what we've seen before, but whatever, it's Star Wars and I'm not going to complain, as I've said. So that is, I believe, the third scene. Like I said, I might be going out of order, but I believe actually the next scene is we see this lady, another one of the main characters. I don't try and ask me her name. I know it, but I can't think of it. And she gets on kind of a new looking speeder bike. I like it. It looks Star Wars. It looks like something that could have been in the original trilogy or whatever. And it looks pretty cool. And she's on Tatooine, so it looks like all of our characters will meet up on Tatooine, I'm sure. And she's probably gonna meet up with John Boyega's character. There's probably gonna be at least one more main character as part of their group, I would think. I hope it's not just them two and then like a droid or something, and definitely not just them two in the original cast, because the original cast needs to go probably after the first movie, just kind of to pass off the reins to these new people. So hopefully we get a couple of other main characters to be in this movie, to be part of the crew. That's probably gonna be in the Millennium Falcon like old times. So anyway, she's the other one. She could be the main character. What I would like to see is her be the Force-sensitive one, and John Boyega be the non-Force-sensitive one. And I don't really care which one's technically the main character. I think it would be cool if John Boyega is, because I'm thinking that he wouldn't be Force-sensitive. Honestly, I think it would. It seems like she could be Force sensitive. I don't know. I mean, they haven't really had too many female Force sensitives in Star Wars, or main female ones. So it's a very big possibility. Maybe they'll both be Jedi. Since it's called The Force Awakens, maybe there'll be a lot of Jedi or something. So I don't really know. And she just kind of, she looks like she's probably living on her own. Probably has that scrapyard, like I said, and she just kind of, she's probably poor and all that stuff. And is probably gonna join the Rebel Alliance. I mean, just like Luke. I think she's gotta be kind of the Luke character for sure of this, because which is fine, and it's gotta be cool if we get to see this Luke character, but from a different perspective, as not the main character. So that's my guess for her, and she'll probably also be introduced right in the beginning. And hopefully she'll be the Jedi of the group. That would be very cool, I think. And have John Boyega be the main character, but not be a Jedi. And I think I could read more into this scene, but I'm just not coming up with anything. So I think I'll just move on. After this, I believe we get to see the X-wings, which I know a lot of people really loved, and I think the X-wings look really cool with their slight redesign. The difference in like how the wings come out looks very awesome. I really, really like the look of the pilot that we get to see driving the X-wing. I don't know, it just looks really, really cool. Not like the not too much of a change, but I just like the look of it. It looks awesome. I mean, it looks completely modernized, and I can't wait to see it. And they are like on a watery planet too. And if you notice in this trailer, there's no space, and you get to see a ton of these of the vehicles from the original Star Wars trilogy, and they're just flying in orbit in the planets, just like flying around on the planets, which is really, really weird. And like I noticed this right away, which is, and I was watching reviews, and not a lot of people were talking about this. Like it's called Star Wars, but there's no space in the entire trailer, which I don't know. I hope that they have a lot of space in the actual thing. And if you remember, like in the Star Wars movies, they never have like X-wings or TIE fighters or the Millennium Falcon just flying around on the planet itself. It's always in space, and we get to see see three ships in this trailer, and all of them are flying in an orbit of the planet. So it's three scenes with ships, and it's pretty weird. And I'm not really fond of that, but I mean the shots are cool and it looks good. I'm just hoping that they'll have space because it's Star Wars and space is one of the best parts. You can't just leave it out and be like, oh well, we're gonna change stuff up and be on planets now because it's just not the way it's ever been done before. And well, I mean, it's new is fine, but I hope they don't overdo it because it kind of looks like they are. So hopefully we'll be able to have some space. So that actually is a little bit of a criticism. But it's probably just the shots that they had so far. So it was interesting. It looks like they're getting ready to fight something. So definitely a war still going on, and they still have the rebellion logo. It still looks like they're kind of run down. So I don't think that the rebels have reinstituted a new government like they would have eventually in the old expanded universe, which I'm fine with. Maybe they're just I'm guessing they're just stomping out the Empire in this whole trilogy, which seems like kind of a waste to me to just do Empire again, like I said, but whatever. New Star Wars movies is better than no new Star Wars movies. So hopefully, if we get some more movies after this, we can move on from the whole Empire thing. And I'd like to see a lot of stuff before Episode 1, see the origin of the Jedi and stuff like that retold. And hopefully a lot of the expanded universe stuff put into Star Wars again, because I think it's such a waste that it all got taken away. So kind of getting off topic here. But yeah, I really like the X-Wing scene too. Very cool. But yeah, so that at this point the trailer is starting to feel like Star Wars because of the stormtroopers and the X-wings. And then here's the moment of truth. You get to see our Sith character stumbling around in like a snowy forest area, which looks so cool. Definitely the coolest area in this entire trailer. I really like that snowy dark forest. It's creepy, and he doesn't look like he's gonna be he looks kind of like he's lost, like he doesn't really know where he's going. I'm guessing that this is gonna be a somewhat novice character, like he's kind of an apprentice, but he looks like he's gonna be like extremely powerful. You can tell he kind of stumbles around, and then his lightsaber shoots out, and it shoots out super violently. I'm like, oh my god, that part really got me in the trailer. It's like, oh, and it's like kind of flamey, the lightsaber. Oh, it looks so cool. And then the two other lightsabers came out from as a hill. It's like, and I'm like, oh. I mean, I wasn't too, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, and it just looks so cool. It's like a gigantic broadsword, and oh my god, so cool. That was one of my favorite scenes for sure. And that was awesome, and he looks like he's definitely going to be a threat. Probably like the Darth Maul type character. I would assume that he's going to be kind of creepy and stuff, and he'll probably be the henchman, maybe. I don't know if he'll be like the Darth Vader. I feel like not exactly. I feel like he'll just be more of a henchman, and we'll kind of see the big bad more in this than whereas Darth Vader was kind of the big bad of the original trilogy, and then Emperor was even more. So this is kind of going to be more like, I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but I think he's going to be a little bit lesser of a character than Vader. So we'll just see. There's rumors about the main villains being the Inquisitors, which are like a group of Sith-like people, and hopefully they're not Sith because of the rule of two. So I don't know. I don't know what this guy is. So I'm just hoping onto the lightsaber concept. I'm completely fine with it. It looks cool, and there's plenty of different lightsaber designs in the expanded universe. So why the heck not? People who are raging are just people who are only fans of the original trilogy, and that's fine. There's plenty of people that are like that, but people like me who are into everything, prequel trilogy, original trilogy, expanded universe, I think it's completely cool and awesome. Hopefully that I'm hoping that's the only special lightsaber, though. I'd like to see a lot of normal lightsabers, especially on the Jedi side of things. Maybe a couple fancy ones if we're gonna have like tons of Jedi, but mostly normal lightsabers. Hopefully, I do think it's a little bit weird that's the only one they decided to show in the trailer, but maybe it's just to get people hyped. So hopefully they don't overdo it with fancy lightsaber designs in these new movies. But I think it's completely fine and cool. So this guy is probably I feel like at this point in this part he's not exactly with the Empire. So maybe the Empire is gonna be like the bad guys like in the beginning of this series, and then they might even get wiped out by a whole another thing like these new Sith that come about or something. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like this guy is with anyone right now. So we'll just have to see. Also about the mechanics of the lightsaber, people talked about it kind of like sliding down, and I mean I think that it's basically been confirmed now that it's a hilt, and people say like if the lightsaber slides down, it'll just chop off the hilt, but there's actually more blade underneath that. Someone from like Star Wars explained it like on Twitter or something. So it makes sense, I guess. So it's just hand protection, which whatever, it's fine. So that is that scene. After that, if I'm trying to rack my then he says the voiceover says the dark side, blah blah blah. So we know he's evil. And then he says and the light, and we see the Millennium Falcon flying around on Tatooine. It's a little bit updated because of that part of it that got knocked off in Episode 6. And then we get the two TIE fighters. It's all the original sounds. The Millennium Falcon looks awesome and updated. It looks very cool in the modern ways. Once again, it's not in space. It's actually on Tatooine, which it's as long as they don't do that only in the movie. As long as that's not the only thing they do in the movies, then I'm completely okay with it. And honestly, this was a lot of people's favorite scene. It was fine for me. Not anything really to say about it, but it just looks like a cool shot that they decided to put at the end. Millennium Falcon shooting at TIE fighters. Can't really go wrong there. So not really anything to contemplate on there, except that I guess you kind of wonder who's piloting the Millennium Falcon, if it's the new people or if it's the old cast. So yeah, there you go. That's the trailer that says Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and the best part of the trailer, hands down, is right there at the end when it starts playing the Star Wars music. That was the best part of the trailer by far. Anything besides the music, there's no way. The John Williams music is what makes it Star Wars. So that was my favorite part altogether. Was definitely the music at the end, and I was so hyped at the end, and I watched it like 20 more times. So yeah, just a couple more things. People talked about the old cast. I'm glad they didn't have them in this trailer because I don't want them to be a big part of it. Just have them in there a little bit and then be done. I don't think they need to be in the movie at all, but actually maybe it's nice to have a couple in there. So hopefully they have a few short little scenes if they need to do something, and hopefully they do it well. Hopefully it's directed well. Hopefully it's acted well and all that stuff. Hopefully it goes over well, and hopefully this movie is awesome because I have high hopes for it. And I guess we're just gonna have to wait until we get more information on it, which will probably be like Star Wars Celebration time, which I'm not sure exactly when that is, and I'm not going to end up going to it, which I would love to go at some point. It's like the big Star Wars convention, so maybe we'll get some more information, some more trailers, and maybe I'll cover it on my channel if you guys want to hear about it, or maybe I'll start a new Star Wars channel or something. I don't know. So there you have it. That's the trailer. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. Go see it right now. The Star Wars teaser, 88 seconds of awesomeness, and I just talked about it for 20 minutes. So I probably could have talked about it for a lot longer, but I had to get, I got stuff to do, so I don't want to do this forever. So I gotta work on Wizard 101, gotta help Aaron out. So I was gonna get some Wizard 101 updates at the beginning of this video, but it's whatever. I think a lot of you guys have probably clicked off it now if you are only into Wizard 101, so I'll just give updates at another time. Moving on, the other big thing I want to talk about in this is Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, and I'm just going to give a review of it because I've been watching every episode because I'm the biggest Star Wars fan, or a pretty big Star Wars fan, I would say. I'd like to think that I'm one of the bigger ones, and maybe in the top 1,000, probably not, but I like Star Wars. So I'm watching Rebels. Pretty good show. I mean, if you, I don't think a lot of you guys probably have seen it. If you didn't know, it's on the Disney Channel. It's a little bit kiddie of a show, I would say, but not even as bad as Clone Wars was in its first season. So that's kind of how I've been comparing it. It's not great, nothing too special about it, but it's not as bad as Clone Wars was in its first season, like I said. So I have really high hopes for how this show is going to turn out. Basically, it's I'll give you a synopsis. It's about this boy named Ezra, who is going to be the Luke character. He's from a planet that I think they made up for this show, so I don't even know what it's called. And then this crew comes and they find him and they take him off with them and they have adventures. It's kind of cool. They have a ship that's kind of like they call themselves like the Ghost Crew. They have a ship that kind of looks like the Millennium Falcon. This takes place 5 years before Episode 4, by the way. So this is kind of the new origin of the Rebels. Whereas before with the expanded universe, it was Starkiller, of course, which I thought was a way better way. But I'm still salty about that expanded universe getting written out of continuity. So yeah, it really annoys me. I don't like to think about it. So, but at least Rebels is okay. So, basically, you got a Jedi on their team named Kanan. He was only a Padawan when the Purge happened, so he's not a Master Jedi. He's kind of teaching Ezra the ways of being a Jedi. You have a Chewbacca type character. You have this girl who has Mandalorian armor, and there's a pilot, and there's a really annoying droid who is just used for comic relief, and he's like R2 except more annoying, and I hope he dies, and I really hate him. So, I mean, I have some problems with the show, definitely. Ezra, I think, is annoying a lot of times. I think the droid named Chopper is definitely annoying. I think the Chewbacca character is annoying at times. There's a lot of annoying things about the show, and that's probably because it's made for kids, for young kids, so hopefully it'll be fixed. They kind of fixed that with the Clone Wars, because Clone Wars definitely had some annoying stuff, too. Biggest problem I have with this show, it's a fine show. I mean, it captures kind of the essence of Star Wars, and they have fun adventures and stuff. But my biggest problem with the show is I feel like it's not doing anything for Star Wars as a whole. It's not adding any new lore. Nothing important really seems to be happening, and I feel like it's just kind of these guys just doing random crap for 30 minutes, and then it's over. Like, seriously, there's an episode where they have to go get some fruit for some random people. Like, I don't care. I mean, then there's another episode where there's like they're getting. I mean, they're just trying to tell interesting stories, and they kind of want to make it available so, like, a kid, whenever they turn on Disney Channel, they can just watch an episode, and it doesn't mean anything. So hopefully, usually in series, they try and build, if they're successful, they try and they get better with this stuff as they go along, and they'll have big storylines and stuff. So that's my hope. They've only had a 1-2 episode type thing, and that was definitely the best. It was Empire Day and something else. I can't remember what the other episode was. Very good episodes, but they still don't have an impact on Star Wars as a whole. Whereas Clone Wars was filling in important gaps, saying what happened during the Clone Wars, and a lot of interesting stuff happened in there. Whereas this, I mean, it's not even like you don't even really see them starting the Rebel Order, and I feel like it has nothing to do with Star Wars. It's just kind of random stories about these guys just doing stuff in space against the Empire. So I mean, if you like that kind of thing, sure, I guess it's fine. But I just wish it would be have more of an impact if it was. If it felt more important, like it was really going to explain some lore to us about how the rebels were created, show more of the evils of the Empire, and just stuff like that, and build off of some of the old, there's plenty of expanded universe stuff that happened in between 4 and 5, 3 and 4, and that doesn't look like they're building off of anything at all. There have been some nice Easter eggs. There's a cool episode where they were on the Star Tours spaceship from Star Tours ride in Disney World, so that was pretty cool. And they also had R2-D2 and C-3PO in that episode, and that was when I had high hopes for the series, was back then. And they had R2-D2 and C-3PO. They had an Obi-Wan hologram in one episode, and things looked like they were getting off to a good start. And then nothing happened for about 5 episodes, just random crap. And I mean, it's fine. I watch it because it's Star Wars, and it's it's not a horrible show. It keeps you interested, but it's just that it doesn't feel like it really means anything. There's a couple of villains. There's this guy named Agent Callus, who's like some Imperial agent dude. He's fine. And then there is there's the Inquisitor, who is also fine, whatever. Actually, something interesting in the latest episode, the Inquisitor talked about his master, so hopefully it's Darth Vader. I'd like to see Darth Vader in that show, but I don't want Darth Vader to have to deal with the rebels, because Darth Vader is better than that, and he has more pressing things to deal with than like 6 dudes in like a ship, which are what the rebels are. So hopefully that we just get a cameo of Darth Vader or something. I think that would be cool, and I hope that there are like tons of Inquisitors kind of just doing different stuff, doing Vader's bidding in different areas of the galaxy. Because I'd like to feel that these rebels in the show aren't that important, because nothing important happens in the show, so I don't want them to be important in the big things, in the grand scheme of things, where Vader has to get involved and stuff, because that would kind of, I don't know, that's just my opinion. But yeah, hopefully we get to. Hopefully it just turns into something better than what it is. It's fine the way it is. Better than Clone Wars in its first season, especially in terms of like just how good it is. And animation is fine. I just hope it gets better like Clone Wars did, because Clone Wars by the fifth and sixth season was absolutely amazing. One of the best shows I've ever watched. So hopefully it can get to that point and we get some good lore, some good stuff going on. And that's why it's kind of a shame that it only takes place 5 years before episode 4. There's not a ton of space to deal with, but you still have 5 years, which is like 1 or 2 more years than the Clone Wars had. I don't remember how long the Clone Wars went on for. 3 or 4 years, I think. 2. I don't think it was only 2 years. I think it was 3 or 4 years that the Clone Wars went on for. And I don't think that the Clone Wars TV show covers all that time. So, but that was back when the expanded universe was still canon. I always have to bring it back to that in this series. Whenever I'm talking about Star Wars, it always comes back to the EU. Always, always, always. Because that's my favorite thing about Star Wars, and it's gone now. So I hope that, I mean, I'm just going to go off on a tangent here. I really hope they find some way to get the expanded universe back for the fans. I hope Disney can do that in some way, whether it's just using a lot of it again and just kind of putting it in with like a new spin on it in different forms of media, or bringing it back altogether. That would be a dream come true. That'd be amazing. I'd pay money for that. I would start a what do you even call it? Whatever that website, Kickstarter. I'd start a Kickstarter just to get them to do that. I don't even care. I would, oh my god, I would love that so much if they just brought back the EU and they kept with the old rules, which was the movies are set in stone. The movies and the TV shows can contradict the expanded universe, but the expanded universe cannot contradict the movies and the TV shows. Very simple rule. It allowed people to make stuff, and if George Lucas or whoever wanted to make stuff over it, it would just, and the expanded universe contradicts it, you take out that expanded universe stuff. But Disney decided just to get rid of all of it, which is, oh my god, so annoying, because you could have still followed those same rules. They're like, oh, we had to have artistic freedom, but you could have had it anyway, and like they could have made their new movies fine, they could have made Rebels fine, and just the expanded universe that contradicted that would be gone, and you could still have all your expanded universe that didn't contradict it. So yeah, that's my rant. But Rebels is a fine show. I just hope that it has more impact on Star Wars. And hopefully those stormtroopers will be able to aim, because I thought maybe we'd be able to see a cool Empire for once, but not yet. So anyways, that's going to wrap up my video. I talked for half an hour about Star Wars. I think that's good enough. If any of you have lasted this long, I'd like you to post a comment down below saying, I'm just going to come up with something off the top of my head. Type in hashtag bring back the EU. Because, I mean, it's not going to happen, but just type it in that, because that's what's on my mind right now. Maybe I should have just made a whole rant video about how the EU needs to come back, and maybe I'll still do that. So, actually, I'm going to give some updates right now, if you've made it this far, just for fun, whatever. I do think I have my photo. I think I'm good with Photoshop. I don't have Photoshop, but my friend Damien seems to be like he's going to help me out, and maybe he'll even help me out with getting Photoshop back, so that should be good. Damien's awesome. Damien, shout out to you. You the real MVP. And still playing Wizard 101, try and get on every day, and just juice it up. I'm working on a pet right now, so you guys, I mean, if you want to still talk, I mean, I'm not gonna, best way to talk to me about pets is maybe just like send me a picture of your pet on Twitter. So my Twitter is Nux951. I do have it on privated, so just ask to follow me, and I will allow you to follow me, and then you can send me some pictures of your pets and stuff, and I'll just see what I want. But right now I'm trying to juice up a rain beetle, and hopefully it will be my perfect pet. Because it definitely has the stats there to possibly be it. So, there's that. So, overall, don't worry about that stuff that I kind of talked about in the last video, unless you want to worry about it. So, trying to juice up Aaron in Wizard 101. He's so far the main friend who's still playing, who's getting back into it. I mean, actually, but a lot of my friends are. It's just that I've been playing with him the most. So we're definitely gonna have a pretty big fam on Wizard 101. So that should be pretty awesome, and things will be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Gonna try and whip out a Christmas special because I've done one every year. So that's pretty much gonna be what I'm working on this weekend. So if you don't see a lot of videos, it's probably because I'm working really hard on this Christmas video that I'm still brainstorming ideas for. So yeah, it's got to be more epic than last year, and that's going to be hard to beat for sure, especially with how little time there is now. But thank you guys for watching this video, especially if you lasted this long. And also, tell me if you want to see any more Destiny or anything like that, because I might get on and record some of that at some point. I haven't gotten on in a little while. I think, you know, I'm not gonna talk about everything, so I think that's good for this. I also want to live stream at some point too, so maybe this weekend I can live stream, and definitely over the break. So just a lot more stuff coming from here. I think I'm back into YouTube for a while now, at least. You can probably rely on that. Where I wasn't sure a couple days ago, I think I'm pretty sure now that I want to do this at least for a while. I'm not sure. So expect some videos in the future, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Nugs out.